Just a minute. Okay, let's call the Fire District Board meeting of October 16th to order. Would you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can you call the roll, please?
Baldridge.
Here.
Beckman.
Here.
Here. Berkeley. Here. Phelps is absent. Poland is absent, and Norton.
Here. Please turn off your cell phones. And please don't text during the meeting as it is against the meeting. Could we have approval of the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Any additions or deletions?
The addition I was going to make, because of my poor
Yeah.
comprehensive reading skills, is pretty much already
There?
going to be available in item 11. So.
All right. Okay, so, moving on, would you, all those in favor, please say yes?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Could we have approval of the minutes, please?
I move to approve the minutes
Of September 18th?
of September 18, 2023.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll support.
We have a motion by North and support by Beckman to approve the minutes of September 18th. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, now Scott's not here. Who's going to do this? We have requests for payments, please.
We're going to do the public comment. We're going to do public comment.
Oh. Is there any public comment? They never say anything.
You never know. Who's going to have a
Sure,
grievance?
nothing going once, twice. Okay. Request for payment.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills for Scott of $147,274.44.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Beckman, second by Fox. Is there any discussion about the bills? Hearing none. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Beckman.
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Baldridge.
Yes.
Berkeley.
Yes.
And Norton.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on, could we have a financial report?
Yeah, so basically on the page 9 of 12, the revenues, you know, we haven't really collected anything for our budget, just cost recovery, some interest, sold some assets, some grant donations. We've only collected, what, $36,000 so far. So when our tax bills will be going out here in another 6 weeks, so that's when the money will start coming in, probably by the December board meeting. I think overall the expenses are fairly in line, nothing's out of whack, but we need any kind of a budget adjustment currently. I don't know if anybody has any questions on any of them, or...
Questions, anybody?
Special events, 77%. Are we mostly
We're
done
gonna
with
be
those?
way over that.
Are we?
Oh, yeah.
We still have the Halloween thing and all next spring, Memorial Day and anything else.
Is this mainly wages?
We had an event Sunday, we have another event Friday. Halloween, I just did a review today on that. That we pared back though. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably too late to address it now, but maybe for the future.
Maybe we should put more into that.
We did this once before, and it got cut back dramatically. At that time, I don't remember the number, so I don't know if it's like risen back up or if it was just...
I would say that it would be attributed to a sharp increase in events, and the nature of events. You know, COVID was kind of stagnant for obvious reasons, and it certainly has escalated. I mean, we're getting some time, it's 4-day notice. We had one 10-day notice for the one yesterday. Halloween, we were never even included in the meeting, never included.
Why do we not
How
collect?
could the permit get approved then?
No idea. We were never copied, we weren't included. I had to meet with somebody today because it's what's going on.
That's happened in Saugatuck too, there's no check on that. There's nobody in City Hall that's going, wait a minute,
Oh.
has everybody,
After 30 events and working almost every other weekend, some of us are tired.
Well, are these?
So has the fire department never signed off on the Halloween?
They don't ask us for a sign off. Only Saugatuck City asks us for a sign off. We don't have anything. We had that with the last one, whatever the last parade, and I don't mean this to single out Douglas. It's a very different process. And there was another one, they notified me Monday morning, you gotta come at 9 o'clock. Well, that ain't happening. I have a schedule like anybody else. I was 9 o'clock, 9:40, 10:30 today, 1:30 today.
Are these for-profit or?
They're all
non-profit?
It's all no profit. So you can't,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's a big thing.
So then all of
I
a sudden
agree.
you,
Yeah,
I mean, that one I worked myself on my own time on Sunday because my assistant chief asked me to.
now when we say non-profit,
yeah.
They're all nonprofit.
well, I mean, there's a difference between.
Non-profit and non-for-profit.
Yeah,
Well, it used to be, it should be a 501c3.
yes.
But then you have that, they all fit that, Rotary, Cal Hill, all that, and you want to support that. I think the challenge is the quantity. There's never any, you have 125 days where it's 2 in 1 weekend.
Maybe some of the revenue that they generate, even in the nonprofit, should be.
I don't think it's
I agree.
unreasonable to ask a fee. I mean, this is kind of over and above.
I'll give you, I don't want to get off top, can
Sure,
I'm sorry, well, part of our
All right, I
discussion
think
here.
Halloween has just been blown way out of proportion. Call me a bah humbug, but Halloween is for children to go trick-or-treating. And now there's this event and that event. There's one in Douglas, there's one in Saugatuck, they're all over the
Well,
place.
and as to profit, while the event itself may be non-profit, you can't tell me that, sorry, I'm not beating up on, but you can't tell me that the bars aren't happy to have that going on, whether it's across the street from them in Wicks Park or across Center Street, whatever, in
Well, that's
Douglas.
true for any event that.
Well, so somebody's making money, is my point, and
at the end of Halloween, you must have to tie your kids in bed because they've just nothing but eat candy for days.
That's always been.
But
Yeah,
it
that
gets to
parade
be
kind of
more and more.
defines our
Right.
area, like Venetian, 4th of July, and I think there was one event, what was it, the race, Mount Ballhead Challenge. And it was very comprehensive because it's out on the peninsula, and they want a lane for the runners on the peninsula, so you have Douglas DPW, Allen County Sheriff's Office, Saugatuck DPW, and the Fire Service, and all these volunteers. And I made a suggestion, maybe you should consider the event organizers pay for, give them a break, traffic control or something, so we aren't putting up 250 cones and arrow boards, and let us do our job of maybe EMS, fire, rather than traffic control, because the size of that event was so large, and I mentioned it to Rotary, when
Jim?
he was very receptive, not Jim, it was another guy, Tom? Horton?
Oh, Tom Troop?
He was very receptive to that. I even contacted a company, because there's a number of them, I thought, maybe this is what we have to migrate to or evolve to as the event organizers. That's part of the price of doing business, because what we worry about is, we're positioned at Center and Ellis Street. I get a call. So where's the implied liability if we leave that post? We're leaving. It's up to the event organizers. And I said, what, one of the praise, what are you gonna provide? Oh, 4 people. Oh, we need 19. We're not
Well,
doing
What?
the school should provide that, the track club, I mean, they gotta start thinking
And
outside the
we're
box.
working on, we're getting that, we had a meeting today. So what can you do, so we limit, so I just have people that are people on duty. That's been my mission, people on duty, so I don't have to bring in extra people.
Right.
Well, the next one, I can't cover it with the duty crew. I have to bring in 2 extra people.
Two things. I do not think it is unreasonable to ask the event sponsors, whatever they're called, to pay a percentage of our costs for the event. All, not discriminate, oh, this is a real worthy cause or whatever.
Right.
Oh, you're gonna pay 25% of our costs, whatever those costs are. You want a historical thing, I can show you historically what this costs. And as I say, I think, you know, the resources of the entire department for that period of time are largely lopsided in the favor of a less than all citizen
Well,
kind of deal.
it's not just the fire district, so it's, you know, it's all, the police, our DPW, all
I
of
agree.
these departments are,
All, the cities need.
providing a lot of service in kind.
The bridge walk had probably 9 pieces of equipment out, I think everything from DPW.
He just wanted to show it all off.
Right, yeah. And it was stunning, but the resources they had there were, number one, impressive, number one, costly, but that's what you have to do to protect the public, and that was not a fundraiser event. So I don't know how.
You, maybe you can, or maybe you can't answer this, but maybe Peter can, but a 501(c) or whatever, do they have to have a general accounting of what is spent? I know Erin's got these little things all over the place on printing, which isn't cheap. She gets a lot of donations. Well, that's the important thing, that
We don't ask for that. What I had was, years ago, when the board transitioned into, all right, let's try to separate this, nonprofit for profit. I think I've had 1 in 5 years was a CA. So then it came into, okay, how are we going to decide who do we go to? And it got to be problematic, because we would have Coral Gables say, oh, it's a nonprofit event for 4th of July. So I said, okay, show me the 501(c)(3).
right.
And what he meant to say is it's a for-profit event. He's not making money on it,
Yeah.
but...
And there was
Except for when it comes to his bar
Bar,
and stands
yeah.
on
There was
the,
no
I mean, come
But
on.
he doesn't know what a 501(c)(3 is.
Well, it's just like, I mean,
And
I'm
yeah,
not picking on Aaron,
no.
but I know
No,
that's the big one
Mike
coming.
doesn't know what a 501(c)(3 is.
And then it
He has no
disintegrated 5 years ago.
But we're coming up on Aaron,
Yeah.
so it's kind of fresh in our mind.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of people that go in there. We need a lot of people to,
I almost think it should be where you don't provide more than the on-duty people, and if they require that, they're gonna have to.
yeah, but Kathy, what happens if something bad happens? And then it's like, well, the fire department wasn't there, we
Well,
paid
that's
for
why,
them.
that's why
you know?
I think it's reasonable to charge. That at least pumps the brakes on this thing, so that that they have to think about it. And it's very, I mean, it's budgeted here, what, $12,000, is that right?
Got 12 or 13.
So,
12,
And that's just wages, that's not the equipment or the fuel or anything else.
well,
There's
whatever,
share.
we could come up with, a scale that shows, it's not their judgment, it's his judgment, department's judgment, what it takes to do the run around Mount Baldy and all the rest of that. This is the number, the fire district, it's part of our mission to support that, but it's not a part of our mission to fund that support entirely, and we're gonna ask you to pay for 1/3 of it. So we're committing, who can argue with, you getting 2/3 of it on the taxpayer?
But then you get volunteers and half of them don't show up. That's the real big issue.
Well, that's, I think the way to manage that is by exception back through the city councils and whatever to say, hey, look, or here, and with an after-action report. I would also think if you do you're gonna pay 1/3, you're also gonna sign a waiver that says, in the event
They don't
emergency
show.
resources are called on an emergency, that's not on they're gonna be pulled, and you got no choice. So be prepared with your volunteer setup to be able to step in.
I think the board might want to consider, for equity, you might want to consider this. We kind of foster an environment where it's public safety services get reimbursed a portion just to help dampen some of the costs, whether it's the fire department, the county. I mean, Sergeant Haas this weekend says, I can't get 4 reserve deputies in 4 days. So he's got to bring people from the other county, because we monopolize this. You know, in Douglas, they'll for Halloween, they'll have every police officer and every DPW there. That must cost you guys $8,000.
But
And that's why I even said to some of the people, so, what are you doing? Well, I'm organizing an event. What are you providing?
That's what I say, I think if the event organizers need 501c3 notwithstanding, need to be tied to the event by picking up a very reasonable share, which I think a third is, and leaving 2/3 to the taxpayer, but you're gonna pick up a third, and based on history, that's gonna be whatever. And I would include time and equipment. to calculate.
We know all the costs, because we've gone
Yeah,
back
they
and
got
said,
it.
oh, this is what this costs, like,
Cost.
Halloween could be a $4,000 weekend.
But
When I had 2 events, one in Saugatuck and then the one in Douglas, so why do you do them all in Douglas? That's the Halloween place, don't do it. And I said, I'm not gonna support it.
Boy, you can't talk them into that, though.
The
Well,
children's parade, they
we just
want-
don't-
that would be, make sense to go to
Yeah,
that.
We just say- we just say no.
Erin offers to have she goes, we're all set up, you might as well do the children's parade in Douglas too, why not? And people don't want to do that.
And they don't want to do it because, in my opinion, that's retailers talking. That's not, oh, I want to have the little kids in Saugatuck. Don't give me that, I'm not buying
all the
that.
keyboard warriors on Facebook.
And that, and now, yeah, they immediately go to,
Oh,
it's
God,
the biggest things.
Yeah, but the retail isn't making any money on that stuff.
Well, I know, you got the kids, and you got them lined up there, and you got parents in town, you got restaurants. All we got is restaurants, bars, and t-shirt shops to begin with, for the
Well-
most part, so.
Bars, I can see bars and restaurants, that makes sense, but some of
Well,
the,
who else? I mean, you have a better event in Douglas, they know what they're, I mean,
Yeah.
well, they
They
sure
all
make,
know.
they sure as hell have more parking over there.
they got parking.
Especially at kids' events, you've got a natural, berry field, it's
Yeah.
perfect for kids, because you've kind of got that fence around there,
Mhm.
you can see,
Yeah.
and the parents can be, you know,
And
you
they're
don't
not
have
on
to
the
have
road.
alcohol to have a bloody event. And to me, Berry Field personifies so many event locations as far as anything with kids, you know, and there's so many things to do there, it's a perfect setup.
And there's restrooms,
And all
for
our
heaven's
parks-
sakes.
Yeah, and all our parks are on rivers, most of them, and.
And we have to go 3 blocks to the restroom, or bring
Or
in,
cross Butler Street.
or bring in temporary, they would have to do that
Or an auto
anyway.
shop,
I'm sure.
yeah.
And we have so many in Saugatuck, it'd be nice to kind of shift some of that to Douglas,
But
because
is
they
this
manage
a
it
power,
well.
is this a power play? We don't wanna let
I
this
don't
go.
know.
Sure.
We've always got
Sure it
2
is.
cities beating up each other, it's.
Yeah.
Who does, I don't think Erin's in charge of the children's parade,
No,
is she? Who is it?
She passed
I
that.
think Liz Engel did it yesterday, the one.
Was that
Today.
Pride, was it, okay.
Yeah, I think they, because they had the tent.
Yeah. But what about the one on Halloween, or the one where the adult parade day?
Sedano's doing it in Saugatuck.
I think maybe we need to go talk to them maybe and say,
Well-
if they just advertise it's in Douglas, people will show up. I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah, and
the
it's a
public's
local
got their
event.
hearts set
We
on
don't know
Saugatuck.
anything about any Halloween thing.
Well, I can't see how Douglas profits from
There
that,
is.
from that Halloween.
We have a
parade.
turkey run in Saugatuck coming up in November,
I
but
know, Douglas City doesn't profit
What's
from
a
it, but the
turkey
retailers do.
Yeah, but what's there?
What do you mean, what's there?
I mean,
It's a
everyday
salt
people,
turkey
he's not
trot.
even open that day.
It's a fun
He
run.
sells
Yeah.
everything
Oh, it's
out
a-
front.
walk in.
Is that turkey?
White Dog
It's
or
a
whatever.
little-
Yeah, wow.
Wild Dog might be this year.
Mhm.
Well, I
That's-
think we need to have a discussion
Maybe
with
bring a
all the
That's who's making the
everybody
money.
that's involved with the event, and explain to them, because I think the normal citizen thinks this is all volunteer from the fire department. We don't pay for
Right.
anything.
I think Stacy just hit a perfect sponsor. We need a sponsor. We need the New Standard, Green Koi, and the other place,
Jars.
Jars. That's all the people that will be buying stuff to go to that parade.
It was a cloud last year.
Yeah,
you
it
know.
will be this year too.
I was lost on this, okay.
Well, they're making money.
Yeah.
Okay, we probably should, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Would it be possible to move this along? Because, you know, we can't get people to come to these meetings, no matter what we say, to put on the table for discussion, a motion to charge 33% of the district's costs for events to the event sponsors, with the district responsible for the remaining two-thirds of the cost of providing emergency service oversight, overview.
Well, I'd kind of like to talk about the volunteer situation as well, and if you can't come up with enough volunteers for your event, then,
Yeah, but who makes that determination, the number of volunteers?
Then you're in a whole...
Yeah, but they're not even talking to him about the Douglas parade, so
well, then I'd...
Aaron can say, I need 10 volunteers, and just whatever.
Again, the way to tighten it, but
Well, it might be a good idea to have it like the round table that we had for the budget.
Yeah, and that's
If
what...
everybody understood, like, you know, this is, first of all, really a burden on, you know, it's hard for our Douglas police because they have several events, but you have to do all of them. You have to do Douglas,
Sure.
you know.
Every one of them.
So,
And-
if people were maybe, if we could help raise a level of awareness, maybe they would say, oh yeah, we need to.
maybe we could...
Well, here's what we also need to do, is show the financial, what it costs. Because a lot of people out there say, I pay my taxes, the fire department should do that. Well,
We can do that, that's like that.
Oh.
We use the cost, what?
So let's have a roundtable thing like we did with...
Are
Are we having another budget one this year? We decided we like that, correct?
Yeah.
Could we maybe add this to the agenda,
think
or
it'd
is
be
it?
I think you're gonna be knee-deep into the next season.
Oh, yeah.
My
You might have to
suggestion,
do
you
it
would do
before
it,
that,
you
yeah.
would do it by January. That's not till June or...
all right, the budget is mid-year.
So we usually do a fee schedule, so how do we establish fees? We use the cost recovery fee schedule.
Right.
That's how we establish what costs, because we've got truck calculations, current wages in there. So come, December, maybe even January, I'm gonna go to the board and say, costs have gone up, here's my recommendation.
Some of the equipment though, Greg, it doesn't, like you brought a truck to the chili cook-up. It doesn't hurt for that truck to run, be out and about, people see it.
So what?
It's the wages that I'm more
Right,
concerned about.
and I think, I agree with you. I think for the public and all that, you might want to consider a very nominal fee for the truck, $100 for fuel or something, I don't know.
Yeah, that's-
Because what we do is, we also take advantage of that. We're required, and I want to get off topic, but we're required to do 60 hours of driver's training a year. That's easy for me. I do a lot of stuff running around. But we build training, we keep track of every 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So we rotate people, okay, this person's gonna take the engine to Berryfield, this person's gonna drive it back. So actual drive time, so there's training on, we try to build training when we fix a flag halyard in Saugatuck City.
Right.
That's all aerial ladder training. So we take advantage of that. That's how you got an ISO 3.
But that's something that the public doesn't know. So a lot of times they'll say, now I love that truck there, but there's also people that will say, what the fuck they bringing a truck here for?
Yeah.
Well, it's a block, number one, and we're training our guys.
There's always training in that, and we're committed, and the other thing is, you almost like are on this double-edged sword where, what is Saugatuck Fire Department known for? Community involvement, interaction. We excel at that, not because of me, because of us.
You know, on your halyard thing, and this doesn't work for drive time, because you see a truck driving, you know where it's coming from, going, whatever. But for things where there's a static, the sign that you guys had out I assume to allay parent concern on the smoke thing with the kids. Training in progress should go out when you're doing the halyard. 'Cause
Yeah.
You do a better job at that.
well, I mean, it's just, it'd just be, it never even occurred to me, but the other thing I wanted to say, I think it's a great idea to get up in the Firehouse Forum. I would hope that maybe we can get any BLS financial issue that may come out of that, which I'll be amazed if there isn't one, at the same time. Two is not that much harder than one, but it also together gets in front of the jurisdictions. You know, this isn't a bottomless pit over here. You know, you manage your costs, we're managing our costs, and they were very cooperative when we asked for more money, and
So,
hopefully we wouldn't be asking
why don't
more
we
money.
do this in January when new councils get seated? There's gonna be
That's a
some
good idea.
fluctuation in council. And have a meeting, it'll be a good introduction for new council members and board members in the township, if there are any or anything like that. And we can also talk about this. I think, you know, a couple of those meetings a year is not a bad idea.
Plus, we can guilt the new people into showing up to try to understand what they're,
Well, I was gonna say, you could do the new people
Doing.
with a half an hour before, have the meeting time at
Yeah.
whatever for, and if you're new to the council or whatever, board, whatever, come 30 minutes early for an overall briefing on, so that somebody who's been there 5 years doesn't have to sit through it, but you got the option.
Just when you look at this, say for example, Halloween, you've got MSP, Douglas Police, probably not the county, Sergeant Fire, you got all these entities. The taxpayers pay for a lot of stuff elsewhere, staff this, and I think that's what we have to be aware of. With the let's have a parade because the sun came up.
Yeah.
There are times we feel there's a vet for everything.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard. to
we've
do.
always been known for that.
Yeah, and it defines us.
Yeah.
What determines, like, there's lots of other events around, like athletic things, or how do you determine when it's necessary for you to have a vehicle there, or to have a...
It depends on, the nature of the event. There's some we don't go to. Usually when there's a static crowd, and alcohol involved, more than 300 people, we do it. There's some that we're not needed. In the case of Douglas, they wanted permission to do fires
When?
Sunday.
Oh, like a fire pit?
And we started that with Winterfest.
I can't even believe
And
someone
Douglas
would ask
has
that
no open
question.
burning. I said, well, that's a recreational fire. You can do it by ordinance. Well, who's gonna manage it? Well, who did you want to manage it? Well, we're not doing it. So we inherited that. Well, then it was postponed for COVID, and then Ms. Siegel contacted me and said, I want to do that. Lake Vista is donating everything. I said, of course we'll do this for the kids. We'll do it. Well, it takes a certain amount of setting up. And Mr. Devon donated everything. Last time I provided the wood and the appliances. Well, now we have it all set up. It all worked out. But when you multiply that times 30, it's taxing. So we had to have the crew there because we had to have people doing the s'mores. Then we had to have people for medical. Well, the duty crew went together. We didn't bring in anybody extra but me. So they have to be with their kits, their trucks. That's another reason why they're there. Well, we have run to the station. I can't even get out of the...
But that's not an event that travels through a process of approval, correct? And that's a problem,
Yeah,
because
It was-
you're never gonna
it
get
did.
that under your arms around that.
It did.
it had to go before council.
Oh, did it? Well, as long as we're not approving,
Right.
or go into events that haven't
No.
at least...
No, it was approved,
superficial,
because she
yeah.
called me, I was washing my boat, and she called me and said, hey, I want to do this, and she said, can you guarantee you'll be there? I said, you just gave me 5 minutes, I'm standing here washing my boat, no offense, Liz, and you give me 5 minutes to guarantee I'm gonna have how do I know I even have staff on a Sunday? And that to me is, wow. So then, you know.
Okay, well then, let's have this
Yeah.
meeting in January and advertise that we are gonna discuss events, and if you're an event planner, maybe you ought to attend.
Well,
And-
and I would go farther and say we're gonna, and let them know, because you don't get people's attention unless you start throwing money on the table, and say, fire district's gonna discuss cost sharing
Yeah.
of expenses
Mhm.
for events. And if I keep going to 30, I don't care what the numbers, but I keep going to keep it, the Army's kiss, keep it simple, stupid. A static amount, percentage-wise, for everything, for everybody,
Mhm.
plus the fuel allowance, plus a fuel allowance based on the actual experience of whatever your event is. And that'll get then you're gonna have Sadaba here going, we can't afford that, or whatever they're gonna scream.
Well, the
But
CPA will be here.
Yeah, but it's only reasonable,
No. I like Greg treating this just like cost recovery. We have a fee schedule, this is the way it is, and if we come up with 33%, whatever it is, we stick with that, but we gotta be consistent.
Well, the trouble is, you're only gonna know that after the fact, and you're not gonna be able to, you're not gonna be able to tell an event organizer it's gonna be $3,000.
I think Greg could
We would look at what we would do, Dan, if I did.
Plans.
We would look at past Venetian, that 4th of July, and say, we predict it's gonna be,
Okay, then predicted value.
Yeah,
33% of predicted
we'll,
value.
we'll give you 5 people, this is what the cost is, wages and benefits. I assume anybody who does cost recovery, that's what you're supposed to be doing. I don't see law enforcement doing that much, but that's on them. So I see that as a viable option and fair, hey, just pay what the cost is.
And when the email or whatever goes out for that meeting, I'd make sure that anybody who's had an event that we have had a contact with gets that email.
Yeah, good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Sorry for getting us off track so far.
No,
We can't
that's,
spend the night, so Kathy has a meeting, I
Have a
believe.
meeting.
You know, we can get.
All right. So, and I didn't bring my
I'd like to
pajamas.
eat in between.
I didn't bring my pajamas. Okay. We'll move on to fire chief comments.
all right, thank you very much. Brief report, as soon as I can open it up. So we ended up, the month, just a decrease in calls for the month of September. For a year-to-date comparison, you're about equal, about 743 calls. Here's an interesting one that would stand out. Overlapping calls, as you know, are any calls that occur within 1 hour of another. You're up 52% on that. It really ramped up. That is about all on that.
Isn't there one night there were 6 calls,
Yep.
6 overlapping calls?
So then we go into next on Department of Fire Prevention. So our software vendor's system crashed. So what we have majority-wise was fire prevention education hours ramped up, and then plan review hours was quite extensive. And then as far as the Michigan firefighter statistics, we have 86 deaths to date from 79 fires, a mere 1% decrease in deaths, however, a 9% increase in fires. As you know, that fluctuates. Fire Prevention Week, we kind of talked about that briefly before the start of the meeting. One of our favorite events, Fire Prevention Bureau staff and duty officer went there. You can see some of this. We got the smokehouse from Holland Fire. We all kind of share that. And we taught the kids fire safety, and the theme this year is cooking safety, the leading cause of fires in our homes. We gave them tips like turn the pot handles around, don't put water on a grease fire, and we had 338 kids that went through.
I saw that on the sign out there, but we should also tell them what to put on a grease fire.
Okay.
I've always thought baking soda you throw on a grease
We,
fire.
We had baking soda, Chris had baking soda on the counter, and the kids don't know, well, that shouldn't be there.
Right.
And then, well, it's a natural fire extinguisher, and we went into that. So, tremendous with elementary school. We logged 130 hours doing that.
Awesome.
How many
So
kids?
that's what it's about.
How many kids?
338 kids I checked with the school. So a lot of fun. Douglas PD, they're every day with us. Tino, Tony, Chief Kent. So then next month, we'll start with address identification, and we'll go into our curriculum, which varies each month. And Douglas is always there helping us with it.
Well, as a father of two Douglas Elementary, graduates, they still remember you guys coming, so.
Good, good. One really fun thing.
Hopefully they learned something, but,
It's surprising what they do know.
Sometimes that's the only stuff they learn.
That's true.
Moving on, the agenda certifications, really happy to share with you Sean Marr, one of our paid-on-call personnel, achieved Fire Officer 1. Michelle Green, Fire Officer 1. Michelle's full-time during the day. These are not easy classes to obtain. Chris Bernhardi, I sent him away to 2-day school for marine firefighting. Seeing how we have thousands of boats here, you might want to know details on boat fires. And he completed 2 days of that, and that was a certificate class. Awards. Chris Mantles, through the Michigan Fire Inspector Society, was selected out of hundreds of inspectors, and he is Public Educator of the Year for the state of Michigan. No easy award.
It wouldn't be without the support of all of you, so thank you.
Congratulations, Chris. Next up, we had an unfortunate situation where one of our officers' truck was broken into. Our officers are required to carry a radio, an AED, and a medical kit with them. They broke into his car and stole everything, not the AED or the medical bag. $9,000.
Jeez.
So I started doing a claim with the insurance company, and they didn't know if they were gonna cover it. $1,000 deductible, and every time you file a claim, So Motorola came over the next day after I was getting quotes on one and delivered this to us. I mean, I honestly did not expect that.
The two guys, yeah.
Who are they? Bill Irwin and Rich.
So Bill Irwin is our current regional rep. Rich Uslan, yes. Rich Uslan I should have done a better job.
That's all right.
So
All right, just
Motorola
didn't-
is the one that donated it?
Well, and really, it was done through Bill Irwin and Rich. Rich was the one who helped us with going to the Motorola system when we went to it as a county. He was our rep that Bill is now. Rich is now higher up. Bill reached out to him and said, boy, I wish we could do something with a price break for Saugatuck. And Rich said, take this to him.
Any way to track that? I mean, you would think, it gets, like a cell phone gets taken, usually the police can find it.
Well, we had to shut it down. We had to shut it down because if it goes somewhere else, it drags part of the talk group with it. And I didn't want the
Safety
liability of
issues,
somebody
yeah.
calling, oh, there's a bank fire.
Mm.
So I called Chris up, he was off work, I said, get it shut down with NCC.
And they
So,
couldn't tell where it was though, huh?
well, the GPS function in these has not been activated yet. And that is what contractually they're working on.
That'd be nice.
So I thought it was important for you to know that these were $2,800 when we bought them. We didn't even buy them, Tony did. And now, I double checked, they're $9,000.
So it might be worth somebody, if somebody was dumb enough, and it's possible that they were, they figure, I can use that on my deer hunting stand, which they can't.
Right.
They can't.
So that, once they discover that, it wouldn't be crazy, I'll put it on eBay for
Yeah,
$500
that's where you're gonna
or
see
As
it.
soon as they try to get it activated, it's gonna come up in the system.
Oh, so
That doesn't
basically
show you
it's
what it is.
useless to them. They can't activate it.
That's what I say, they'll
Like
look,
finding his phone.
Yeah, then they'll just
look
sell it.
to get some money for it.
Oh, it's too bad we can't put Apple ID tags on there, so that, you know, we know where they are.
I was thinking of a handcuff with a lanyard.
Yeah.
But an Apple ID tag, you know, you can find your luggage now that gets lost with an
Yeah,
Apple
Apple
ID.
tag.
Yeah,
What are those?
anything.
They're not very.
They're $100.
Yeah, my daughter has them on her dog.
And then
I think you
pants.
can buy a few of them for a,
Yeah,
yeah, like 5 of them for $300.
they look
Ship your
like,
kids.
Well, they,
Isn't there a
My son-
distance
yeah.
limitation? No?
no,
Okay.
as a matter of fact, there's a guy on the radio I listened to, he put it in his garbage, because he wanted to see if his garbage was being recycled. And it ended up on a boat going over to China.
That's recycled.
Well, yeah, exactly. So he felt better about it,
Don't
but
the criminals know those are there though, and
yeah,
just
you
throw
can
them
hide
away?
them, you can
Oh, okay.
hide them in linings.
my son has a dog collar that it's hidden in there.
Yeah, Jenny's dog.
I have one in my wallet, my car keys,
Yeah.
I'd like them on all my glasses.
Yeah, I went to the post office and I go, my keys are like a foot from here someplace.
Point me in which way.
No, they're not. Yeah, they are. No. And so finally he opens this drawer and they're laying right in the drawer and he goes, we never put car keys in there. And I'm like, yeah,
He did.
so anyway, let's.
Well, looking at
Another
something
interesting
small, it's gotta be
website.
small so I don't see it, but I like the idea of it. Next on the agenda, if I can go on, hiring process update, applications were accepted up through yesterday, and I have to go through them, we've got some very strong candidates. A lot of them.
They must have heard about this board.
I think that was it. And then, last item G, proposed policy amendment. Policy I have to bring to the board. It's in progress. That's all I know about it so far. And then, yep, that's it. That's all I have for now.
Okay.
Can I hitchhike on that? We've talked a couple different times about the first group on EMS, or on ambulance study that was basically professionals, doctors and so forth. And they pretty much finished the assessments that were kind of the challenge for that group. I submit that we are now in a different part of that study that I for one would really like to see have some sort of, I don't care what it would be called, task force study group 2.0 that looks at the operational needs, costs, purview, whatever, of any restructured additional, basic life support, advanced life support, whatever system. Short of that, I think we're left, if we're not looking at that, I think the jurisdictions are open to asking, well, where do you guys stand on that? And I think, the document that was with the stuff today, the attorney review, PA 33, is the sound first piece of that. In this group, I've said, it's 2 or 3 meetings ago, said, are we able to even consider this because is it covered in our charter? This answers that. The answer is yes. It's within the charter of the fire district to provide ambulance service. So I think we need to look at now, with that in place and what we've heard from doctors and so forth, how might that look? Maybe it might look 4 different ways. I don't know, until we go and try and figure it out. And again, get more information and the department's views, whether we should move to BLS, how we might move, what it would cost if we do it with used equipment, what it would cost new equipment, is millage involved, all those practical considerations. I think we should be looking at as some sort of subgroup of this.
Right.
Keep the ball moving.
Right,
Absolutely.
so who should be on that?
I'm happy to volunteer to be on it,
Okay,
but I don't have to be on it. I'm not looking for another set of meetings.
right,
Yeah, they have to.
I think that's important.
and I've just been trying to
Get out.
trying to gather the information and just put it together when it comes in. Should we have somebody from the outside on it, Greg, do you think?
Well, let the group decide if they need something.
That would be up to you guys, I mean.
Does it make
Well,
sense to
I
you?
think it would make sense for us to, I mean, not that I want any more meetings, or Stacy does, but someone from the township, someone from Douglas.
That'd be great.
Definitely.
At least, because then we all have a voice, we can go back and say, this is what we've come up with.
And again, envisioning the meeting you talked about in January, that would be a
And-
good thing to say there.
Instead of, well, Dan and Greg
Yes,
said this,
yes.
it's
No, no,
like, well,
I
that's
don't want
not
that either.
good enough.
No, I don't think that's good. So,
If everybody hates me, come on.
so Kathy.
Well, that's what we'll
We
put,
gotta-
everyone
we gotta
loves
cut-
Stacy, so we'll put her on there.
I was
I'm
gonna
just-
say, we got some new residents coming to the township. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would make
Yeah,
definite sense to keep the ball moving. Now, Greg, the other question I had for you is, do we have any departments locally or within reason that have gone to this lately in the last 3-4 years? Like,
No, they're all talking about it.
okay, so South Haven
Most of them
didn't
don't.
do it, or?
South Haven does it.
But they have been, right?
We have ALS, yeah, they have
Okay.
Advanced Life Support, because they tax property owners, there's a millage they pay for that.
Okay.
So it's, I think, 0.5 mils. And what's happening is, because of the change in services and the change in EMS in general, I think we talked about this, they were getting dispatched up here because of the mutual aid
Right.
agreement, and they flat out said, we're not doing it.
But it just, you'd hate to reinvent the wheel if someone's done it, I've always said.
We've met, we've gone up to Muskegon, we've talked with BLS. As you know, I had a business model from Hickory Corners in another department that I thought was an exceptional business model. And, but we never got to present that.
Well, that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
if
we
it's
need to
still good.
move on, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
And we can
they
present that.
implemented their, and had a
To
business
me,
model.
to me, it was, okay, this is what you can do for us, ALS. You know, what we can do for each other. When I start getting prices of $750,000 because somebody wants ALS here, you don't have the call volume. You've got a void that is not gonna go away, void is gonna get bigger. So, there are some ideas out there, but people have to get behind it.
Mhm.
But you hear every excuse there is not to do it.
Right.
Then don't do it. Just, we don't wanna hear when there's a 30-minute response time and somebody's laying on the sidewalk. Because that's what happens to us.
Mhm.
So I'm okay, and it's not getting better. So I think there are some things to look at. But we are the most progressive, innovative department in Saugatuck. Hamilton wants to do it. They have no full-time people. Also, we do triple the calls they do. Grascup wants to do it, but they have who next door?
Yeah.
AMR.
AMR.
We're like in this no man's land.
As I sort of thought about it, if the group could begin with formulating, however long it is, a list of questions about this, what's been tried, and, you know.
We'll show the data. Here's how many times you had, you
How
decide
much
what's
does this
important.
cost? How much
Here's
does
how
that
many
cost?
times in 2022 you had no ALS. None. Here's how many times in 2003, and you guys decide if that's important or not.
So let's form a committee. It can even have a quorum, because I think it would be good to give public notice of these meetings. So if you are interested, you come to the meeting, and we can get some input from the community, if God knows they can tear themselves away from their TV long enough to come to a meeting to talk about this. And there probably are people that are interested, so,
And I think there's a lot of people that don't think about it.
yeah.
You don't-
I mean,
Until they
I
need
think
it.
that's
Until they
most-
need
yeah.
it, absolutely.
Tyson said, everyone's got a plan to get punched in the mouth. And once that happens, you're like, how come we don't have an ambulance
Right, you wanna
here?
see somebody go on social media, have it be their mom that
Yeah,
dies, 'cause they couldn't get her to the hospital.
Optimum wise, the best thing to do is public input.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not a huge fan of surveys, but, yep,
We did one.
yeah, we did.
We did one, and the people that answered the 250 consensus was, yeah,
Yeah.
we did this survey.
But then you have to talk about what it costs.
What it costs and what, that it's not every ambulance, that it's, you know, the
Yeah.
difference between BLS and ALS, all that stuff, but that route would at least get
Yeah.
it out
Well,
in
they-
front of people, and then if you've got the meeting in January, where you've got some kind of formulated plan, if you're lucky, or some kind of board agreement on, we think this is the way to go, or these are the two ways to go, and choose one, or whatever, then the process is moving forward.
Yeah, I just don't wanna overload that meeting.
Well, it's only two things.
Yeah, we could talk, what time is it now?
Yeah, right, we've talked this for,
Okay.
a while.
So,
This is two different things, that was,
All right, so moving on, let's, finish this meeting and then
we gotta get more public comment.
okay. Where are we?
Number 10.
10. All right, unfinished business.
So cost recovery update, I thought you would like to know this. We collected $4,915 from the illegal burning Ganges. That was a very, very difficult cost recovery.
And the request was,
Well, I knocked it down to $4,915 negotiating, and then he refused, and they would only give us $2,600. I rejected it. And that checkmate won, so. And then another one from Ganges, another structure fire paid in full $2613, and this is a hard one. Consumers Energy gave us $1,433 for sitting on a power line down. So just, year-to-date cost recovery filings, this is what you'd probably like to know. We've collected $25,110. $25,110. Grants and donations for 2023, total to date, $36,198. Those are the two important numbers I wanted to share with you.
Okay, new business, PA 33 attorney review.
I think Dan did a good synopsis. All this is just to give the board a peace of mind. If you decide, if you want to know this, an ambulance chassis is well within the parameters of Public Act 33. It always has been. So there was some kind of question about that where, God, can we do that? And it is. Just because we did it in the past doesn't mean we did it right.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So it's real clear, the purpose of this memorandum was, can we go to an ambulance-style chassis within the parameters of 33? Because of confusion, yes, you can. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
Okay, we can read this later.
In my opinion, that's all you need to know.
Okay, we can read this over, and if you have questions, bring it back to the next meeting. And correspondence, we have non-public comments anymore, back there, anybody?
They're not public, they're,
Peanut gallery, whatever. Okay, moving on, fire board comments. Oh, you can't have anything more to
No,
say.
no.
I'm
Stacy,
good.
I'm
No,
good.
I don't have anything.
Eric.
I'm good.
naming that group, when are we gonna do that? Can we wait another meeting to do that? That's a month gone.
why don't you throw out some names? I mean,
Yeah,
task force study group you had, 2.0?
Yeah, well, I don't care what we call it.
I know, right.
okay. You wanna be on it? Eric, you wanna be on it?
I will be.
And
Kathy, Teru has screwed you over on this one. I can't wait to Teru. No, that ain't gonna work.
Kathy, this fits you so well. You'd be good at this.
Okay. Well, that was quite a piece of smoke, but okay.
She's the only other, Douglas, the only person there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you wanna do?
It'll be fine.
And we don't have a quorum, so we
I think
can-
I'm gonna have to provide the technical stuff, you know, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And for perspective, so.
Yeah, you're gonna have to bring me up to date on,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think if we don't keep it,
Oh, I-
like
I-
a quorum, then we, just to get this thing going.
Right.
yeah, you could also
Yeah.
hit phase two where you go to a quorum.
I mean, at least if we have three, we can meet at, Wicks Park and have a beer, or the Cove or something.
it's too loud here.
Yeah.
Why don't you go to Phil's if you wanna just be
Lot-
ridiculous?
Or Duck Alley, they can go in there.
Can't hear a
There you
thing,
go.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that way
Okay.
we don't have to post it.
I always wanna take a whistle, Phil, so, blow the whistle so everybody, comes back down to the normal.
Oh, then
employee.
they'll be running out the doors.
Every 5 minutes.
Jeez.
Cool. That's my
Okay,
only-
could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Move to adjourn.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
It's still under an hour.